Hi, my name is Cheyenne Morgan, analyst here with TABB Group, and today I'm joined by John Abel, who's Vice President of Settlement Services at DTCC. And today we're going to talk about a white paper that was released in December, and it outlines the proposed changes to the process of settling equities and debt securities. Let's just first start off and talk about what prompted you to take a look at the settlement process.
Recently, we conducted a firm-wide systemic risk analysis. And the results of that analysis were published in a paper that we distributed back in September 2011. And not surprisingly, a lot of the systemic risks that were identified in that paper are the same enhancements that we're proposing in the settlement paper.
Right.
In addition, around the same time, while we were publishing the systemic risk paper, there's a group known as CPSS IOSCO, which makes recommendations for financial market infrastructures, of which DTC is one. They came out with a list of 24 recommendations, and many of those recommendations centered around settlement finality and the need or the desire to move to real-time settlement finality or intraday settlement finality where possible. And it's really a combination of the results of the systemic risk analysis, the industry's reduced appetite for systemic risk, coupled with the related IOSCO recommendations that prompted DTC to make these changes.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about what are the actual specific areas that you guys are actually making enhancements on, and what changes are going to come out of this?
Right. So what you'll see is most of the changes really relate to settlement finality. The first change, what we're calling settlement matching, is targeted towards eliminating the ability to reverse process transactions intraday. Okay. There's a second enhancement, which is called CNS for value, which is really changing the way NSCC-related transactions are processed through DTC as a way to move DTC towards intraday settlement or perhaps an alternative funding model or alternative settlement model. Another enhancement looks at the current settlement cycle and the ability to possibly move the settlement cycle from a T3 to a T2 or a T1. Right. And then lastly, there's an enhancement related to DTC's money market program and looks to eliminate some of the reversal capabilities specific to money market transactions within DTC.
That's interesting. I actually read some of your commentary on TabbFORUM. Can you talk a little bit more about the money market process? How does that work?
The dollar value of money market transactions processed through DTC is very large. We process about $250 billion worth of money market transactions a day on average through DTC. And the way the current system works is a money market issuer's agent has the ability to come into DTC and instruct DTC to reverse process transactions if they're not funded by their issuer. Right. The changes that we're proposing will align the issuance of new money market securities with the redemption of maturing money market securities and give the issuers greater control over the timing and how money market transactions are processed. The end result will be that the issuers will no longer need the ability to instruct DTC reverse process transactions, reducing risk for DTC and its participants, as well as improving settlement finality in DTC.
Right, that must be a major concern considering how important risk management is in today's markets.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Essentially, what do you foresee all these changes doing for the market overall?
Well, the changes really have a number of benefits for the market. First, it will improve intraday finality or finality in general at DTCC. Right. Related to improving finality really is a reduction in risk both for DTC and for participants. It more closely aligns DTC's processes with what's been industry established best practices. Right. And really it promotes straight through processing and processing efficiencies for DTC and for its participants.
Right, right. Okay, so what are the next steps for DTCC? I know that we're in the proposal stage, but how are you working with the industry participants, the regulators? What's the next step?
Right, so we continue to work with participants and industry groups to refine the proposals and to coordinate implementation. Like with any enhancement that DTC does, we work very closely with our regulators to coordinate implementation and design.
Right, okay. And so if everything goes as planned, which sometimes they do not, as we know, when do we expect the proposals to be implemented?
And so the four enhancements that are laid out in the paper are targeted to be implemented over the next 5 years.
Okay.
But a lot of those enhancements have phased implementations. Right. So for the best, I think for the most accurate timeline, you probably should take a look at the settlement roadmap paper for more specific dates.
Okay, great. Well, we look forward to that, and I know that I will be keeping an eye out to see it as these things develop. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. So again, Cheyenne Morgan, analyst here with TABB Group, joined by John Abel, Vice President of Settlement Services at DTCC. Thanks.